Welcome to Kaleidoscope Let's Talk. Ragging is ingrained in Sri Lanka State University culture and it's almost the norm. 59% of university students are ragged, with 54% suffering one or more health consequences. Some brave the storm while others succumb to it. Mental and physical abuse, including rape for both boys and girls, is commonplace. One of the most creative criticisms of ragging has got to be Rag the Musical, written and directed by Jehan Aloysius, reviewed as an excellent blend of fact and fiction when it was on the boards 20 years ago. Well, Centre Stage Productions is back with Rag the Musical at the Lionel Went on the 19th and the 20th of July. But today, director, choreographer, scriptwriter and composer Jehan Aloysius is with me to delve deeper into the scourge that has befallen our higher education institutions. Rag the Musical deals with a subject that most don't want to even acknowledge. Ragging in our universities, very rampant, very violent and very debilitating. What made you delve into this subject?
Well, it was a very personal story for me because at the time I wrote it, I had just got my letter of entrance saying that I'd got into the university, not of Colombo, but of Calania. And that very year, there were three incidents that really shook me and shocked me and made me realize that I needed to do more through art. First was Bara Prakash and his physical ragging, which led to his death when his kidneys failed. Then there was the technical college incident, similar incident where push-ups were done and alcohol down the throat, and he died. And then there was this one incident in the 1970s of a girl who jumped from the second floor, and she was paralyzed and she committed suicide that same year. So all of that happened at the same time. I got this letter, which I have actually set to music in my play Rag, in a song called I'm In. And I thought I really need to do something through theatre, because what I did was I hid my letter of entrance for 4 months. I was working in advertising. My boss was very happy. I was very happy. And my mom discovered the letter, shaved off my beard, chopped my hair because I had long hair. I was Valjean at the time. I was playing Les Mis and all that kind of thing. And I was taken to the Calania University. I saw the ragging also there when I was there with my mum, and eventually I transferred to Colombo University. I missed orientation and I got in, came in a bit late again to escape ragging. So these were my initial impulses, but while I was in university for the first few years, the play started to write itself because of our batch. It's written through the perspective of the English department in that university and all my friends, and people call the Allegancia. So those are the initial impulses.
Are there patterns to this ragging? Is it kind of universal?
It's a vicious cycle which seems to be part of academic institutions, from schools, even to offices, factories, the military, and it has its roots in the military. In Sri Lanka, it's regarded as the great equalizer. It's where people can break certain barriers, and unfortunately, there's a class element also in it, because part of ragging is also, even in recent years, they tell students to not speak in English. Kadden kapanne epa. Kadua is the language of the oppressor. It becomes a vicious cycle because the freshers and those who go through this in their first year, this initiation process, this rite of passage, then become the raggers in the next year. Unfortunately, it's not something that will disappear.
In researching for this, what did you find most difficult to digest?
One of the darkest elements, of course, is ragging and ragging-related violence, and also the politicization of ragging. It's institutionalized violence that within even the universities there are factions that are more pro-ragging and anti-ragging, and then as a result of that, there have been ragging-related violence and even deaths. And my play proved to be strangely prophetic in describing scenes that almost happened almost in verbatim, as if, and I happened to be in some of these universities the day before or whatever, and then these were enacted, and people have died because of ragging-related violence as well as the ragging itself. So it becomes a battleground. It's so sad that the intellectuals, the cream of society, if you like, the cream of the intelligentsia, if you like, or the intelligent students, find it very difficult to get into the university for free education. But at the same time, you get in there to save your family from their status quo, or the issues that they have in their village or in their homes or whatever. And all those parents have worked so very hard to send them to university, and then they come back in a coffin, or they leave university, or they end up having mental health issues throughout life. And it's not one or two cases. There are so many people come and even came for a launch event who are from privileged backgrounds, who said they didn't go to university because of ragging. And it's so sad, because I know that fear. I know that fear that I had, because it's actually worse than you imagine. And I personally think that sometimes the ones who are most violent in their ragging and are brutal probably are being bullied at home, and they are taking out their, in their village or in their homes or in their wherever they are. It's not all village, and it's not class and elitist. It can happen, like even in our play, we have a cross section of people who are doing all of this, but they really make the private into something political, if you like. They make a private vendetta into something so much bigger, and they can use that even for their relationships or even to get back at someone. And I think that's how, when people make the private political, that's a very dangerous thing.
The fact that no authority is taking too much notice or is sweeping it under the carpet is a sad state of affairs. What do we need to do?
We have to start when students are in high school, rather than waiting till they get to university. It's almost too late. So what I've been trying to do for the last 20 years was to couple RAG, which can open a forum for discussion and debate on the subject, but it's still a musical. You can't really make a massive change, but you can suddenly, this issue was in the world press because the BBC took it over, and then it was a world news headline and things like that. And we were very humbled to find that it was then Kathmandu press and things like that all over the world. But at the same time, we couple it with forum theatre workshops. And the workshops, because I've studied Augusta Boyle's forum theatre techniques, that is giving students and young people a rehearsal for social change. Through the workshop, students get an idea as to the vicious cycle of ragging, and they also get to rehearse social change, in the sense that they get to put themselves in the situation that if they are ragged, what multiple courses of action they could take. Counseling and things like that come afterwards, but doing more activities and theatre related activities are one component that I feel that my theatre troupe and I can do, because sometimes people don't want to be lectured, especially teens don't want to be lectured. When they're doing an activity or performing something, they get to put themselves in both, play the ragger as well as the oppressor as well as the oppressed, and then playing that and getting to the mindset of that and feeling that through a character helps them to kind of realize that there are two sides to this kind of thing, because sometimes the adrenaline and the joy and the camaraderie of doing something rebellious can drive people to do reckless things. But it's unfortunate if those mistakes can harm someone for life and take away the opportunities of them and their families and the next generation because of something which is regarded as fun and games.
What did you learn about yourself?
I've got so much more respect for the young people who are involved in volunteerism because of this project that we've been doing for the last 20 years, because I found that people get very passionate about the topic. And I've also found that there is a possibility that young people and peers, I've been trying to do that more in the last year, to try and establish peer leaders and to do master classes so that the youth can help the youth. When you have the ayah or even someone of your own age who can show that there is an alternative path, I think that has far more success for that certain particular age group. Because trying to put things down just through doctors and lawyers and police and through just the bill which has been ineffective since 1998, is not going to really work, because people sometimes, if they want to break a rule, they'll break that rule. But understanding the psychological trauma and why people do this, and the fact that it comes from our primal instincts, where there's a desire to create an us and a them, and to always, man is naturally directed towards certain types of violence. That's the realist theory. And my play, on an ideological sense, it is a conflict between idealism and realism. And Joseph, this one character, is I have a dream, where someone will not look to a knife but to words and everything. And then you've got this other guy, the Rukma, who is the realist. And it's about man, it's about violence, will fight violence. And then both of these characters have to come to a middle ground, because both of these are extreme. And some of the characters that you would not expect, the characters in the periphery, and something that I believe very strongly in for the last 25 years of writing, is the female presence in that. Because sometimes two men in a room, it's all about who's the big alpha. But it's not a gendered thing, but when you find these characters who are in the periphery, who actually make a bigger impact and make a bigger change.
Jehan, my last question. For those who have seen Rag 20 years ago, like I have, what are we to expect? Is there anything new, very briefly?
Rag, it's a streamlined edition, so it's a tight edition. You have to move with the times. Audiences find it harder to actually sit through, like 3 hours sometimes. It's a new, fresh cast. It celebrates all the music, all the songs and the lyrics. As much as we spoke about the negative elements of ragging, the play is a musical at the end of the day, and you'll take home the melodies and some amazing singers and performers. Ages range from 16 to the late 40s, because we've got actors who played in the original production 20 years ago, and then the subsequent production 2005, 2017, and now in this new production, all on stage together, playing these characters. And it's lovely. It's really nostalgic for some of us, but the young people learn, and they're all equal there. That's a wonderful thing about theatre, is that we don't have stars. We center stage, and my drama troupe, we don't work with a star system. Everyone is equal, and it's about sharing and building everyone up, and that peer kind of culture that we have.
Good to know, Jehan, and good luck with this. And I'm very glad you are dealing with this subject well. It's a hard dose of reality, but it's there. Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow us.